Chapter 1. The Sheriff Who Never Failed. Sheriff Henry Callahan was a legend in Marlow County. For 23 years, his reputation for cracking the toughest cases brought peace to the town's 14,000 residents. He found missing children. He exposed secret affairs behind murders. He tracked down fugitives in the darkest corners of the Appalachian Hills. The media loved him. Local papers called him the Iron Bloodhound. His success rate was 100%. He took pride in it because it wasn't just duty, it was personal. Justice was in his blood. But when his own daughter vanished, Marlow learned the horrifying truth. Even legends bleed. Chapter 2. The Vanishing of Emily Callahan. It started on a Thursday. Emily Callahan, 17, didn't come home from her evening shift at Rosie's Diner. At first, Sheriff Callahan thought it was teenage rebellion. His wife, Judith, wasn't so sure. Emily wasn't the kind to run. Her car was found abandoned on a lonely back road. Keys in the ignition. Purse on the passenger seat. Cell phone wiped clean of texts. No footprints. No witnesses. No suspects. Sheriff Callahan assembled every deputy, every canine, and even called in the State Bureau. Days passed. Leads dried up. The sheriff's perfect record had met its match. Chapter 3. The cracks beneath the badge. The town whispered. How could the sheriff who solved every murder not find his own blood? Henry barely slept. Judith cried in the dark. Emily's room remained untouched, bed neatly made, trophies from debate club catching dust. Callahan found himself digging into people he'd once trusted. Emily's boyfriend, Tyler Ames, her boss at the diner, her chemistry teacher who seemed too interested in her future. But each alibi checked out. Surveillance footage showed nothing. Still, Sheriff Callahan had instincts no file could prove right or wrong. Something was wrong in Marlow. Something deep. Something buried. Chapter 4. Ghosts of Cases Past. In desperation, Callahan revisited old cases. The missing waitress from '06. The preacher's son was found drowned. The hitchhiker's skeleton beneath Dead Man's Bridge. Could there be a pattern? A link he missed. A name kept surfacing, one he hadn't heard in years. Henry Dorsey. Once a suspect, never convicted. Moved out of state. Allegedly. Dorsey's last words to Callahan had been, "One day, your family will bleed too." Now the sheriff wondered, had Dorsey returned? Chapter 5. The First Clue. 2 weeks after Emily vanished, a postcard arrived at the station. No return address. A photo of Rosie's Diner. On the back. "You missed something, Sheriff." Tick-tock. Forensics found nothing. No prints, no DNA. But the handwriting. It bore eerie resemblance to Dorsey's old prison letters. Callahan's heart raced. He reopened every file. And that's when he saw it. An old case photo, Dorsey, standing by the same diner. The same crooked neon sign. The same parking lot where Emily's car was found. Chapter 6. Deeper into the dark. The sheriff drove out to the diner alone. Midnight. The place was locked up, silent except for cicadas screaming in the humid air. Behind the building, he found something new. Scratched into the brick with what looked like a knife. "Emily's not the first. She won't be the last." He called in his deputy, but when they returned 20 minutes later, the writing was gone. Power washed clean. No one believed him. Not even Judith. But someone was watching him. Playing with him. Chapter 7. The Secret in the Basement. A janitor at Rosie's Diner came forward. Said he heard things, scratching beneath the floorboards. "I thought it was rats." Callahan ordered the basement torn up. They found bones. Not Emily's. Older. Female. Young. Dental records matched the missing waitress from '06. Now it wasn't just about Emily. It was about decades of women swallowed by Marlow's shadows. The state took over. The FBI arrived. Reporters circled like vultures. But Sheriff Callahan couldn't stop. Because someone left him a second note. Closer. But not enough. You're running out of time. Chapter 8. Every friend a suspect. Callahan started looking at everyone differently. His deputies, his neighbors, even his oldest friend, Mayor Grant. Secrets surfaced fast. Deputy Len had a record sealed from his days in Kentucky. Mayor Grant's campaign was funded by someone using shell companies linked to Henry Dorsey's family. Callahan didn't sleep. Judith begged him to stop. He couldn't. Emily's face haunted him. A third message arrived. This one came with a photo. Emily. Bound. Eyes terrified. Solve this, Sheriff. Or bury another girl. Chapter 9. The Man in the Woods. Locals spoke of a man in the woods. A cabin deep in the Marlow Pines. Hunters heard screams. Saw lights. Callahan followed the rumors. Alone. He found the cabin half buried under vines. Inside, maps of Marlow, photos of victims, lists of dates, and a wall of watches. Each tagged with a name. Emily's was missing from the lineup. Then a shadow moved behind him. A voice whispered, "You're late." Callahan turned. But no one was there. Chapter 10. The fourth message. Back at his truck, another postcard waited beneath the wiper blade. A map. A red X marked by the old iron mill. Final chance, Sheriff. He called for backup. None came. Radios dead. Phones without signal. He drove alone into the rusted ruins of the mill. Inside, chains, bloodstains, old Polaroids of missing women. In the center of the floor, a chair. Empty. A note pinned to it. She's already gone. Chapter 11. Beneath the surface. As Callahan searched, he heard it. Soft crying beneath the floor. A hatch. Locked. He broke it open with a crowbar. Stairs into darkness. Concrete walls lined with photos. Marlowe's forgotten girls. At the end of the hall, a cell. Inside, not Emily. Another girl. Barely alive. Missing for 6 years. She whispered. He's watching us now. Chapter 12. The Eyes Watching. Back at the station, Callahan demanded answers. But something had shifted. His deputies avoided his gaze. Evidence went missing overnight. Files shredded. Judith packed a suitcase. Said she couldn't live like this anymore. That night, Callahan returned home to find his bedroom mirror shattered. Written in lipstick across the glass. Emily's alive. Want her back. Stop looking where you're told. Chapter 13. The corruption runs deep. A private investigator approached Callahan, claiming to have traced Henry Dorsey to a farmhouse outside county lines. The same investigator was found dead 2 days later. Suicide, they ruled. But Callahan saw the bruises. The broken fingers. Torture, not self-harm. Then his own phone rang. An unknown number. A distorted voice. She's in the river. But not beneath the water. Find a house with no doors. Chapter 14. The House with No Doors. Marlow's outskirts held an abandoned church converted into a home years ago. Its front door was bricked over. Only windows remained. Locals called it the House with No Doors. Inside, Callahan found symbols, chains, blood, a photo album of Emily, from infancy to her disappearance, and a phone ringing in the corner. He answered. She's still breathing, Sheriff. But not for long. Chapter 15. The final clue, for now. Callahan dug through the church's floorboards, finding a tunnel. He followed it blindly, desperate. At its end, a room. Chains. Old blood. A single locket on the floor, Emily's. But no daughter. Only a final note. Burned around the edges. Your daughter wasn't the target. You were. You solved every case but missed the one that mattered most. Now we're watching Judith. Your next failure begins now. Sheriff Callahan rushes home to find his wife gone. The house is silent except for a television playing static. On the screen, a live feed of a basement. Judith tied to a chair. Emily's locket hanging from a hook in the background. Part 2. Chapter 1. The feed. Sheriff Callahan's heart nearly gave out watching the screen. His wife Judith sat tied to a chair, bruised, terrified. The camera panned. Behind her, the same basement, the same peeling walls. A hook with Emily's locket dangling. A shadow moved past the lens. Then the screen went black. A voice rang from a speaker left in the corner of the room. You saved strangers. Can you save your own? Chapter 2. No help coming. Callahan called dispatch. No answer. He called his deputies. Voicemail. Even state police wouldn't respond. Something larger was at play. The sheriff realized this wasn't just a kidnapping. It was a coordinated dismantling of his life. Marlowe's corruption ran deeper than he'd imagined. And someone, maybe several people, had planned this for years. Chapter 3. The letter under the door. As he tried to regroup, a knock came at his station door. No one there. Only an envelope. Inside, a map. A key. A photo of Emily. Eyes swollen, lip bloodied, bound to a radiator. Scrawled beneath it. The house you thought was clean still has one locked room. Callahan recognized the address. His old deputy, Len Turner's hunting cabin. A place supposedly abandoned years ago. Chapter 4. The cabin. Armed and alone, Callahan drove through backroads under the dead silence of midnight. The cabin sat untouched, dust masking old crimes. He kicked the door in. Inside, beneath a moldy rug, a trapdoor creaked open. A cellar. Chains. And a girl. Not Emily. Another girl. Pale. Starved. Chained for what looked like years. On the wall, photos of Callahan. His house. His wife. His daughter. His cases. His mistakes. Chapter 5. The girl who knew too much. Her name was Lisa. Missing since 2018. Thought dead. She whispered of a group. A circle of men. Judges. Cops. Politicians. Women taken as leverage. Or punishment. Or worse. They watched everyone. They watched Callahan for years. Lisa begged not to be left behind. Callahan swore he wouldn't. He carried her out into the night. But his truck tires were slashed. His radio died. Chapter 6. A message in blood. Painted on his windshield in what looked like blood. Still too slow, Sheriff. Judith pays next. Callahan wrapped Lisa in his jacket. Led her through the woods toward town. But headlights appeared behind them. A pickup truck. Deputy Len Turner driving. Len stepped out. Calm. Smiling. I told you to stop digging, Henry. He aimed a shotgun at Lisa's head. Callahan drew first. Chapter 7. The betrayal runs deep. Len bled out in the dirt. His phone buzzed in his pocket. An incoming text. You failed again. Try the church basement this time. Callahan took the phone. Lisa cried silently behind him. He drove toward the abandoned church again, this time prepared to kill. Or die. Chapter 8. The secret beneath the cross. The church doors opened with a scream of rust. The basement smelled of rot and iron. This time, deeper beneath the floor, a second tunnel had been unearthed. It led to a chamber. Judith sat there, barely conscious. Next to her, Emily. Alive. Broken. Eyes wide with terror. And standing behind them, Mayor Grant. Holding a knife. Chapter 9. The Confession. Mayor Grant smiled. 20 years of covering up this town's sins. You really thought you were clean, Sheriff. Photos lined the walls. Missing girls. Murdered girls. Silenced families. "This town feeds on sacrifice," Grant whispered. "And your daughter was simply overdue." He stepped closer to Emily with the knife. Callahan shot him twice in the chest. Chapter 10. The Real Enemy. Judith screamed. Emily wept. Callahan freed them both. But behind them, another voice spoke from the darkness. Slow clapping. Henry Dorsey. Alive. Smiling. "You still don't get it, do you? Grant was just the doorman. I hold the keys." He vanished into the tunnels before Callahan could fire. Chapter 11. Escape. Callahan led his family out, carrying Emily. Police lights waited above. But they weren't from his county. Men in suits. Unmarked cars. FBI. Or something else. One nodded at Callahan. "You weren't supposed to find this place, Sheriff." He aimed a syringe at Callahan's neck. Darkness swallowed him whole. Chapter 12. Waking up somewhere else. Callahan woke in a hospital bed. Judith gone. Emily gone. A nurse leaned in. "They're safe. That's all you need to know. You're retired now, Sheriff." He tried to rise. His wrists were cuffed to the bed. The nurse smiled. "Rest. You'll never see Marlowe again." Chapter 13. The basement feed returns. That night, alone in the hospital, a TV in his room flickered on. Static. Then a basement feed. Judith. Tied again. Screaming. Emily. Gone again. A voice through the speaker. "Round 2, Sheriff. Let's see if you're better at losing this time." Sheriff Callahan fakes his death to escape custody. With no badge, no allies, and no clue who controls the conspiracy, he must return to Marlowe's darkest corners alone. But this time, his family's survival isn't guaranteed. Part 3. Chapter 1. The Man Who Died Twice. The world believed Sheriff Henry Callahan was dead. A fatal complication, in custody, they said. Quiet funeral. Closed casket. Empty. That's how they planned it. But beneath a farmhouse 4 counties away, Callahan awoke. Free now, but erased. No badge. No bank accounts. No identity. Who saved him? A stranger. An ex-agent. A man with no name who whispered, "They want you forgotten. But I need you to remember." Chapter 2. The Underground Map. The stranger showed Callahan the truth. Files stolen from federal vaults. Evidence destroyed before trial. Photos of girls, not just from Marlowe, but across states. Across decades. All connected. All vanished through a network of men too powerful for courts to reach. The name beneath it all. The Marlowe Circle. "You've been playing chess blind," the stranger said. "Ready to see the whole board?" Chapter 3. A Family Split. Judith was alive. Locked in an undisclosed location. Moved constantly. Beaten. Drugged. Filmed. Emily. Gone again. Last seen carried into a black SUV. Callahan's rage burned hotter than law could contain. His rules were gone. His conscience fractured. He would burn Marlowe to its bones if it meant saving them. Chapter 4. Breaking Old Bonds. The sheriff returned to Marlowe in shadow. No uniform. No allies. Just a list of names. Corrupt cops. Judges. Bankers. Priests. Each with secrets. Each complicit. First to fall. Deputy Holloway. A man who smiled too easily at funerals. Callahan left him bleeding in a motel room with a warning scratched into his chest. "I'm not dead." Chapter 5. Beneath the Funeral Home. Clues led to an old funeral home, shuttered for years but buzzing with hidden life beneath. A labyrinth of tunnels. Rooms for storage, of bodies, of girls, of horrors unspeakable. There, Callahan found a woman. Emaciated. Tortured. wearing Emily's bracelet. She wept. They traded her, out of state, for something worse. On the wall, maps marked with red circles. Another city. Another victim. Another step deeper. Chapter 6. The deal. To save Judith, Callahan needed to trade information for access, a name for a location, blood for blood. He forced the mayor's lawyer, secret keeper, record burner, to give him a code. Blackridge Facility, Kansas border, level 3. The lawyer didn't survive the night. Chapter 7. Blackridge. Blackridge wasn't on any map. A farm, a factory, a fortress, men with rifles, dogs with hunger, cameras everywhere. Inside, Judith, drugged, hooked to machines. She blinked once when she saw him. Hope cracked through her terror. Callahan killed his way out, burned the place behind him. But Emily wasn't there. Chapter 8. The tapes. In Judith's hospital room, Callahan found a package waiting. No sender. No label. Inside, VHS tapes, labeled with names, dates, ages. One marked, Emily, last night. He watched. Emily screamed, begging. A shadow behind her wearing Callahan's badge. The voice said, Daddy's home. Chapter 9. Home is where the horror is. Marlowe's oldest asylum had been shuttered since '92. Rumors of cults, of disappearances, of government experiments. Callahan knew it was more than rumor now. A return address scratched onto Emily's tape led straight there. Inside, silence thick as ash. Rooms untouched. Files burned. And a chair, still warm. A camera pointed at it. Recording. Live feed, somewhere. On the wall, written in blood. Welcome back, Sheriff. Your daughter's been waiting. Chapter 10. Trapped in the dark. He found another tunnel. Older. Carved beneath the asylum long before law touched this land. Symbols etched into stone. Chains bolted to walls. Skeletons are too small to be adults. Fresh footprints. Drag marks. A door. Locked. On it, a photo of Emily as a child. Smiling. Oblivious to her future. The key. Hanging from a noose above. Chapter 11. The reunion. Almost. Inside, a figure sat against the far wall. Emily. Unmoving. Eyes open but empty. Beside her, Henry Dorsey. Still alive. Still smiling. Congratulations, Sheriff. You found your daughter. Too late. He stepped into shadow. Gas hissed from vents. Lights died. Chapter 12. The escape. Or another trap. When Callahan awoke, Emily was gone again. But a trail of blood led up, out, toward light. He followed it past rooms filled with horrors catalogued like trophies. He emerged beneath Marlowe's courthouse. The town's heart. Its secret throat. Emily's locket hung from the judge's bench. Chapter 13. The truth in plain sight. The town wasn't corrupted. The town was built for this. Sheriffs, judges, bankers, teachers, all chosen, all raised for roles in the circle. Callahan was never the hero. He was the bait. His success distracted from the rot beneath. Now his punishment has begun. Chapter 14. A father's fury. He burned the courthouse. From basement to bell tower. Files. Names. Evidence. Gone. If they wouldn't give him Emily, they wouldn't have Marlowe either. As flames ate history, a letter landed at his feet. Handwritten. Blood-stained. You've earned your final test. Meet us where this all began. Alone. No gun. No law. Signed. Emily. Chapter 15. The road to nowhere. The address was an orphanage. Long closed. Where Emily was born, not Callahan's daughter by blood. A child given to him to raise, to break, to offer back when the time came. Inside, photos of Emily, of Callahan, of every missing girl tied to his timeline. Strings on walls, connections laid bare. And in the center, Emily, alive, standing, smiling. Behind her, Dorsey. You brought her home at last, Sheriff. Welcome to your real family. Emily speaks. They taught me how to disappear. Now I'll teach you how to suffer. Lights cut out. Gunshots. Screams. And silence. Part 4. Chapter 1. A Daughter's Smile. Sheriff Henry Callahan stood frozen. Emily, his daughter, his reason for living, stood alive before him. But something had changed. Her smile wasn't Emily's. It was the circle's. "You shouldn't have come, Daddy," she said. "You ruined everything." Behind her, Dorsey grinned in shadow. "Welcome to the endgame." Chapter 2. The Truth You Never Wanted. Emily revealed the truth, her voice hollow, rehearsed. "She was never your daughter. They placed me with you, raised me through you, groomed me through love, through absence, through pain. You raised their final offering." Each of Callahan's victories, every solved case, was designed. A distraction while the circle molded Emily beneath his nose. The girls weren't just victims. They were part of the harvest, part of the ritual. Chapter 3. The Harvest. Callahan was forced to his knees. Surrounded now, not just Dorsey, but judges, deputies, teachers. Faces he'd trusted. Faces now stripped of masks. They chanted. A room beneath the orphanage, lined with bones, soaked in blood. Emily's locket dangled above a pit in the floor. Inside the pit, bones. Hundreds. "Every town needs a sacrifice," Dorsey said. "Tonight, it's yours." Chapter 4. The Choice. Callahan was given a choice. Save Judith, alive but barely breathing, strapped to an altar. Or save Emily, bound to her fate, destined to inherit this horror unless stopped. He couldn't save both. One life for one. That was the rule. That was always the rule. Dorsey placed the gun in his hand. "Choose, Sheriff. Be the man you pretended to be, or the monster we made you." Chapter 5. Blood and Fire. Callahan made his choice. He shot Dorsey through the heart. He shot the altar chains free. He grabbed Judith. Ran. The circle screamed. Ritual broken. Candles extinguished. Walls trembled. Fire followed. Callahan lit the room with gasoline and rage. Bones burned. Secrets turned to ash. Chapter 6. The Last Words. As the orphanage collapsed, Emily called after him. "You can't run from blood, Daddy. You can't run from what you made me." He didn't look back. He carried Judith into the night. Behind them, Marlowe's heart burned to the ground. Chapter 7. Aftermath. Weeks later, Marlowe was a ghost town. Corrupt officials vanished. Files destroyed. Survivors silenced. Callahan and Judith disappeared too, off the grid, names changed, haunted but free. But Emily, her body was never found. Some say she walks in other towns now, smiling at lonely girls, offering them promises, offering them escape, or offering them a door they'll never return from. Chapter 8. The Final Letter. Years later, a letter arrived at a remote mailbox in Alaska where Callahan lived under a false name. Inside, a locket, Emily's, and a note. "Hi Dad. Ready for round 2. Final line. Some mysteries never end. Some daughters never come home. Some sheriffs never stop running. The end. Series concluded.